Before starting our awards ceremony, and I know everyone's itching for that, I wanted to introduce one of our partners who have supported our vision of SciTech from the moment we told them about it. Hamad bin Khalifa University is one of the foremost research institutions in the region. They spoke to us earlier about their great programs, and we hope you get the chance to chat. And we hope you had the chance to chat with them at the exhibition. This talk will be about their work in developing sensors for Internet of Things devices. So I'd like to invite Professor Amine Bermak to the stage. He has received his master's and PhD degrees, both in electrical and electronic engineering, from Paul Sabatier University, Toulouse, France, in 1994 and 1998, respectively. He has worked on, at a major French national research center, where he developed a 3D chip for artificial neural network classification and detection applications in the project funded by Motorola. Please join me in welcoming Professor Amine Bermak, Associate Dean of Hamad bin Khalifa University, College of Science and Engineering.
What I would like to share with you is really, I think as one of the key messages from the previous talk, is that you need to get out from your comfort zone. And I think some of the questions that I had when interacting with some of the PhD students from very bright university is that should we continue to contribute to the West and work just in top universities in the West, or should we go back and work in universities, let's say in the Middle East, and contribute to our communities? And my answer to that is basically there are some exciting things happening in the Middle East, and there are a few universities that are really research intensive. I had a very comfortable position as an academic in Hong Kong, one of the very top universities in Asia, but then decided to go and contribute to my community, and now I decided to stay in Qatar. So I would like to share with you a beautiful story about Hamad bin Khalifa University, which is a startup university in Qatar. And actually, as the theme for this conference has been hacking the system, I really think that this university is trying to hack the system in many different ways. The first one is we try to organize it in a non-conventional way, because actually our university is located in Education City, and if we are familiar with the University City, there are actually 9 international universities in the vicinity of HBKU, Hamad bin Khalifa University. So in 1 kilometer square, basically you have 9 very top universities. So we try to focus not on traditional disciplines, but disciplines that can bring those disciplines together. And our focus is really multidisciplinary. So for example, we do offer a program where students will take courses in CMU, Carnegie Mellon, which is one of the branch campuses, and also they take courses in Texas A&M, and then they will come and take also some integration courses and system-level courses at HBKU. So we do focus on multidisciplinary, and we organize basically the college in terms of divisions rather than department and school. And for example, we offer very innovative programs that really address the need of the community. For example, a specialized master in cybersecurity, a master in data science, which is addressing big data, and also a PhD in computer science and engineering. So this is basically the first item that I wanted to share with you. I would like to go to the next item. I would skip this for the sake of time. And basically, I think most of the talks that we have seen today are talking about data and AI and how you're going to use AI in order to basically perform some very interesting applications. But the thing that we forget about is that the backbone of AI and big data is actually sensors. You have sensors that are going to acquire the data and generate this data, and basically they are ubiquitous. You don't see them, but they are behind and they are very much needed. So I have started a research group in Qatar, which is really looking at how to integrate these sensors and make it possible to deploy them in large-scale application, IoT applications. So the idea is actually to have sensors, but build systems around sensor, where you can not only acquire the data, but process them, and hopefully these sensors can be self-powered, because in IoT world, you have to deploy these sensors at very large scale. So the idea is actually to not only design the sensor, but also the interface that goes with it, and also making them work at very, very low power. And I would like to share with you some of the very nice research we are doing. So typically, as I said, we try to build systems around sensors. So we start with the sensor, but we don't stop there. We look at the circuits in order to read out the data from these sensors. We actually implement AI techniques, for example, sitting next to the sensor itself. I'm going to show you some applications of that. And basically, these are some examples of various chips that we designed. And yes, we can do research in the Middle East. This is basically all designed in HBKU. For example, we have designed an olfactory sensor. This is a sensor that can smell, and it has an AI chip that will basically integrate the training, and you can actually train it to recognize a new smell. We have also designed a passive RFID. So that's an ID chip, which is very low cost. You can think about it just like your barcode in a digital barcode. So instead of having this analog barcode, you can have it digital, integrated in a chip, and then you can have an RF reader that will read the data. But what we added to it, because this exists already, what we added to it is actually sensing capabilities. So for example, we added temperature sensor, which means you can track products during the full chain, going from the factory all the way to the consumer. For example, it can be a frozen item where you want to monitor the temperature. It can be a medical product that is sensitive to temperature, and so on. So all of this has been implemented in my group. So this is actually looking at what are the requirements for IoT. I'm sorry to be a bit technical, but I will try to be high level without going to the details. So basically, what are the requirements for IoT? If you want to deploy, these sensors are very, very large scale. So first of all, you need to integrate the sensors, and they need to be really low power, operate at very low energy. You want to have processing that is integrated. And for example, if you look at most of the sensors, they will have, let's say, an ADC to convert the data into a digital domain. All of these ADCs are actually very power hungry, so you need to extract information rather than just converting all the data. So you need smart converters, but also communication as well, because the example that I gave you, this chip is able to communicate back to the reader. So you have to be able also to communicate. Let me give you some very top-level examples. This is the RFID that I told you about. So it's a chip that can actually monitor the temperature, but at the same time send you the ID of the product. We also have designed an electronic nose. What you see there is actually a platform that can recognize smell. It can be trained, so you can train it to recognize the new smells. And whenever you have basically an order that is presented to the chip, it will recognize it automatically. And all of this is wirelessly connected, so you can have it connected, let's say, to a mobile phone, and you can display whatever basically orders you have in your vicinity. It can be used also for basically applications like detecting gases, air quality, and so on. So I think I'm going to skip some of the slides. I will share with you actually a project that we have in collaboration with MIT. I actually come very often here, at least 3 times a year. We have actually, with EECS, we have a project that is looking at a smart home and basically looking at how we can implement a platform of sensors together with the wireless and making it all self-powered. And it's going to be empowering the next generation of smart homes. So the idea is actually to include various sensors that are wirelessly connected. So for example, you have air quality sensor, you have image, motion, and occupation detection, temperature and humidity. We even deployed actually a very interesting sensor, which is detecting water quality. It's actually with the biology lab here in MIT. They come up actually with an idea where you can have a synthetic bacteria, and this synthetic bacteria interact with heavy metals, and they generate a light, and basically by having a light sensor, you can actually detect the concentration of heavy metals in the water. What you see in the bottom right corner is actually the system that we implemented. The project is just finished, and we actually have a platform that can actually detect 5 parameters: water quality, air quality, basically even isolation of the building. Because typically these buildings, they have a vacuum insulating panel. They're supposed to be isolated using vacuum. So if you have basically a pressure sensor, you can detect whether do you have vacuum or not. And therefore, you can actually read it with an RF signal, detect whether you have good isolation or not. I think I'm going to stop here. It's a little bit too technical. But really, the story out of this, if I knew, I would have designed a non-technical presentation. But the story that I want to convey to you is that, yes, you can do research in the Middle East. And watch out for some new emerging universities that are really research-focused. So, for example, my university, were able to do that because in my university, we only teach 1 course a semester. It's a model that is similar to MIT. And it's very good news to see that some of the universities in the Middle East are just doing that, basically just focusing on research. And basically the courses that you offer are just graduate courses and basically research-oriented courses. With that, I would like to conclude, and sorry for the technical presentation, especially after such a nice talk. And I would be very happy to take any questions you may have. Yeah.
Where's the funding for the research?
Right. We are using a model that is very similar to basically Western universities. If you look at CAUS, for example, they guarantee funding for all professors, and they have a baseline, actually quite significant funding. In our university, because we have an ecosystem, so basically there is QNRF, which is Qatar National Research Fund. It just operates like NSF, so we do have competitive sources of funding. And in terms of industry, I have to say that it's very limited, because, especially in my area, because this area is not really very strong in the Middle East. But through collaboration, for example, my project with MIT, we do work with TI and Intel. So if you are doing good work, you can get outside funding from industry. But locally, we have something like NSF, which is the Qatar National Research Fund. And it's actually quite substantial. We get something like 700,000 US over 3 years, which is very generous, good funding. Yeah.
For the talent of researchers and faculty members, is it mostly Arab, or do you find it easier to recruit?
Yeah, that's a very good question. It's a mixture. So for example, our faculty, we have something like 16 nationalities. But most of them, if you have typically very top faculty, very basically well-established researchers, they would like to come to the region if they have some kind of connection to the region. For example, I'm originally from Algeria, I have kids. I would like them to be exposed to the Arabic culture. That's my reason for moving to Qatar. Yeah.
All right, thank you. All right, so thank you all for joining us here this weekend. We are very, very delighted to see you here on our campus. So before we get to the awards, I wanted to tell you a story. And it's the story of SciTech. I'll make it short. So SciTech is a decades-old ceremony that was started by the Arab Student Organization at MIT. Last year, it was reinvented as a conference celebrating Arabs advancing technology by ASO President Dana, who has done wonderful things for the community here at MIT. This year, we made the conference much bigger, and we need your help to continue growing. SciTech is a weird name. It's catchy, but it doesn't capture our aspirations. As we repeatedly shared, our vision is to create a network of students, professionals, researchers, and innovators who are interested in using science and technology to transform the MENA region. And we cannot do that. So the reason why I say it's weird is because we cannot do that without the help of the economists, the policymakers, the lobbyists, the designers. So it's not really just a conference about science and technology. So also when we were hosting this conference, we decided we do not just want to host another Arab conference in a US university. We noticed there's a gap in the market, and we needed to address that because a lot of people were there purely for networking reasons, and the region that we all are talking about in the conference is not seeing any of the impact. So this year, we restructured the conference around the motto of Inspire, Idea, Impact. We hope that you were inspired by our speakers. We saw that you have ideated, and now it is up to you to create the impact. We would like to announce that our initiative is global, and we want to inspire students around the world to do similar ideathons. This is why we're collaborating to organize digital versions of this ideathon so that people transcend borders and are able to contribute their opinions. Earlier, our dear speaker, Rama Shakaki, said we are all friends, and I do hope that you have all made a friend or more from this conference, and that you take these friendships and connections to drive impact in the region. To wrap up, I am happy to say that we now have a thriving Arab conference at MIT. I am happy to be in this very lecture hall in which I have repeatedly fallen asleep on multiple seats. I still remember. And I hope that this place that has become like a home for me, and I'm now able to like talk about the Ideathon and the awards and all these innovations, I hope that all of us will be able to do the same in our home countries. And finally, I hope everyone enjoyed their time here. We also would like to extend our thanks to our sponsors. So we had great research institutions like Hamad bin Khalifa University, King Abdullah University of Science and Technology, and innovative companies like Dar al-Handasa, Internet Society, and Jabral Network. We would like to thank our media partners, Nuqta.net, and our knowledge partners, MIT Technology Review Arabia, who are pioneering content in Arabic online. And finally, I would like to thank the organizing team for all the hard work they put into organizing this conference. So funny thing, we're using Slack for communication, and a few days ago we got a notification that we've sent more than 10,000 messages this year. So we're gonna have to start paying for their service. Special shout out to my co-director, flatmate, and best buddy, Rami, for all the late night sessions that led to the creation of this year's event. I hope that after this conference, we no longer need to stay up to 6 a.m. operating on Middle East time so that we don't miss calls from our speakers and partners. So please join me in thanking this amazing team for an incredible event. Our motto is Inspire, Ideate, Impact. I don't know where hope fits there, but I sure felt a lot of it this conference. Ila liqa, and see you next year. So finally, the moment you've all been waiting for, we're going to be announcing the awards.
Hello? All right. So just to add very quickly to what Ihssan said, two things that we want you to keep your eyes out for after this conference is that we're creating a big Facebook group for everyone who attended. That's the first step to building this network, maintaining it. We hope you guys continue to share ideas and ideate together. The other thing is, we talked about it at the very beginning of the conference. We launched the Campus Ambassador Program this year to build a network of students at other universities across the US and across the region. And we had a few students who joined us and who spread the word at their campuses. And we're opening up the applications to anyone who's interested. So if you are interested in representing SciTech and the ideas of SciTech, the ideas of hacking to your campus, then please get in touch with us. So now the moment everyone's been waiting for. All right. We have 3 winners and 1 honorable mention, and we're going to start with infrastructure. All right, so now let's have the drum roll. The winning team, who are going to solve the problems of infrastructure in the cities of MENA, Tasheed. Congratulations. Could we have a representative from... All right. Cool. We hope you use the money wisely. All right, thank you, Tasheed. Again, it was a lot to ask over, not even 3 full days of you guys to come up with an idea and pitch it and really think of an important problem and a significant solution. But that's so you know how we feel every day at MIT. Just simple flex. All right. When it comes to innovation, the team that is going to innovate in the cities of the Middle East is, drum roll, Shabik. Congratulations. All right, now last but not least, energy. The idea that is going to reinvent how energy in the MENA region is Wati. Congratulations. And finally, we still have our honorable mention. And the honorable mention goes to, yes, drum roll, Wassilha. Where is the Wassilha team? Yeah, there's no check, sorry. And with that, we officially conclude SciTech 2019. Thanks for joining us.